In this week's video, we're gonna talk about Keaton Verhoeff, a 6'4" right shot defenseman that is highly regarded ahead of the 2026 NHL draft. At 16 years old last year, he set the record for most goals scored by a defenseman of his age in the WHL with 21. This season, he chose to leave the Victoria Royals to join the NCAA with the University of North Dakota, even though he is one of the youngest players in his draft class, celebrating his birthday on June 19. One of the most interesting aspects about Verhoeff is that he has only been playing defense since he was 12 or 13 years old, having previously developed as a goaltender. His greatest asset is probably the quality of his shot. His one-timer is an absolute missile. After all, there's a reason he posted such an impressive goal totals last year.
A little closer the next night is North Dakota.
He also has a strong inclination toward physical play. He enjoys engaging physically and never hesitates to deliver big hits.
2 minutes to play in the third. Couldn't get it to Livanovich as Streger goes down.
Livanovich, Barkholz pokes to the corner. Deep left wing side, behind for Sarsland. Holtz, right wing side. Misljevic in the corner. Misljevic will leave it along for...
Left the puck behind now as Paulson comes forward. Verhoeff and
Sturzer might have numbers. Cage Sturzer will dump and chase himself and get there first. Sturzer.
Ever meeting between these two programs. The first of a home of...
I like his mean streak as he shows no mercy toward players in vulnerable position and won't hesitate to make them pay the price.
Verhoeff showing the physicality. Everybody in the lineup tonight for both teams with the exception of a couple of late scratches for Manitoba and one out.
However, he is also a player who frequently gets targeted. He may be the 2026 prospect that I've seen taking the most amount of good hits. He must do a better job staying alert on the ice and must adjust his center of gravity when preparing to take contact. Right now, he stands too upright, and he needs to lower his center of gravity to maintain a better balance on his skates.
For the clear, they can't get it here. And now they do! Grimes, hustling, broken up by Cole. Finally, the Redhawks get a couple of fresh bodies on. Verhoeff has stayed out there. He gets wiped out. Pushed it off him. Nassim with a big hit. Egypt game tonight. Helping it along. Big check there. That was Donato. Lorenz giving chase. Verhoeff will get there first.
On the end wall. This Ryman Rosborough Sean line doing a very nice pull. Shimmick trying to get it ahead for Smolin. Deflected.
His defensive play improved as the season progressed, particularly throughout a better use of his stick. Early in the year, he had the bad habit of allowing too much space in the shooting lane of his opponents. And right now, I would say that his stick work is probably his greatest defensive strength. He makes much more better use of his reach and has become more difficult to beat in one-on-one situations.
Some of the angle. The turnover now is Kent Anderson, the senior captain, takes over. Poked away, though, by...
Particularly in the offensive zones. Passes just off a little bit.
Here's Harris now, putting Livanovich down.
Reaching between his legs. He's got Gaffney. Dangles it through the...
Verhoeff also proved to be one of the players who most consistently showcase his puck handling ability during my viewings. He has quick hands and impressive confidence for a defenseman of his age competing at the NCAA level.
This is where Arizona State really established itself in the game last night. Came back after getting down two. Now right out in...
Out comes North Dakota. Klee through center. Down the right wing board, a cutback. They'll drop it back off. Moving in front, shot save made by Verhoeff on the pass from Homer. Was spied by Barkholz. That was a good read there by Eric Barkholz.
Really good. Took a really good angle, good route.
Verhoeff over the line, lost. Nice.
Well,
It's
you
full
can
forward
see they're
clear.
looking for that big shot, you know, from him right in the middle, and
If you got it, why not? Right?
Oh, right.
He dances in left wing corner now, and
Now Verhoeff.
That being said, there are limitations in his puck control. First, although his hand move at a high pace, Verhoeff makes a very short lateral puck movement that ultimately accomplish little to nothing. Here's an example of him not using his reach properly. He often attempts digs without any prior movement in his play that would have influenced the positioning of the defender in front of him. That makes him somewhat difficult to evaluate if he has great hands because even though his puck touches are pretty quick, the effectiveness of his hands is rather mixed. Also, I don't believe that he currently has the ability to decipher opposing defensive structures and solve the problems in front of him when it comes to zone entries.
Verhoeff through center. Over the line at the right side. He'll touch it in deep, back to it.
Verhoeff also delivers mixed results in terms of puck distribution. Early in the year, he was used on the left circle during the power play to take advantage of his one-timer, and from that spot, his passing game was fairly simplistic, often limited to moving the puck back to the point or, at times, to the bumper if he had enough space. Even in other situations, he can appear limited in the options that he identifies on the ice. Here's an example where he could have easily spotted the player position high in the slot, but instead, he rimmed the puck behind the opposing net along the board where the other team recovered the puck.
Final 3 minutes of the third. David Klee, good composure there with Sebrian. Bring that extra two. On the Victoria with a couple of North Dakota guys he's going to see, including one there. Verhoeff throwing one in front.
Livanovich to his right. Verhoeff waits. Backdoor feed across.
Nearly creating the chance at the other end for James. Pass intercepted by.
I gotta say that in my last handful of viewings, he was playing on the right side on the power play, and his puck moving was much better.
Verhoeff again. Strendon the one. Verhoeff along with Livanovich, Rickwood, and Dylan James on this top unit.
Improving his skating will be crucial if he hopes to become a defenseman capable of handling heavy minutes at the next level one day. At the moment, it can hold him back. His straight line speed is relatively decent, although he loses more 50-50 puck race than he wins. The major issue will be correcting his footwork. His foot speed is not particularly strong, which prevents him from readjusting his positioning in real time when the play collapses in front of him, and he struggles to adapt and can turn the puck over in those situations.
Not born in the state of Minnesota. Not surprising, of course. That is how this Gophers team is all night. It's led to a couple of goals this evening for the home team. Resrushny. Verhoeff couldn't quite control. Pass in front of Livanovich.
It is also possible to note a significant knee valgus in Verhoeff's skating stride. So a valgus is when your knees collapse inward. In his case, it is reasonable to theorize that it stems from his past as a goaltender with all the butterfly style nowadays, but the good news is that this can be corrected with gym work focusing on strengthening the external hip rotators. The biggest adjustment that he still has to make at the NCAA level is how he managed the opposing forecheck. He often finds himself overwhelmed in those situations, which results in mistakes on his part.
One night ago, they had at least 12 shots on goal every period yesterday at the Sanford Center. Here's Flamang now. Tom Serratori. There's Flamang now, winning the puck through one. Now it's Riley Funk, 3-on-3 for the Beavers. Nemesnikov beaten to it by Verhoeff this time. Oh, bouncing puck, Nemesnikov in the slots. Big save by.
Good work there. Just legging it out, using your legs. You know, tough sledding a little bit. Need to get.
At the puck, so he didn't see that on the point of contact.
Wallen. This is Verhoeff, second youngest player.
However, for me, the biggest issue in Verhoeff's game and a major reason as to why I am so low on him is his play in transition. He very well might be the prospect that I've seen commit the most amount of mistakes in those situations, and I am not saying that lightly. His turnover rate when leaving the defensive zone with a pass is alarmingly high. He struggles significantly to make the right decisions, and many of his passes lack precision.
For the first time in David Carl's tenure, Denver will have a sub-500 record in the non-con.
A skater out on the ice. Miettinen comes off the bench. North Dakota plays it up along the near wall, unable to clear.
I've been to Red Hawk Ridge. I golfed a couple of rounds there.
So that makes it 2-1. North Dakota back up top. Livanov Grove. This is a young North Dakota team. Just over average of 21 to start.
It's all the way down. James, though, one of the best skaters in the country, getting there ahead of the senior for BSU. Pass a little behind. Still loose. Pierre. North Dakota back in possession through Verhoeff. His exit, though, knocked 7 in this period. Both teams with 1 goal in the middle stanza after we were scoreless through the opening 20. And Robbins had been splitting time for much of this year. Loose pass picked up by Max Nemesnikov. He will dangle and weave and throw one in front. Phoenix across to Verhoeff. James couldn't control. Important interception by Verhoeff, now poked away. Arnott finding Gaffney. A couple of sweeps to open the campaign before back-to-back splits against Minnesota and Clarkson. Here's Keaton Verhoeff now, another power play goal.
Step in, fill some big shoes on that line. Got 7 seconds left in the frame.
North Dakota's had a few chances lately in transition. Trotter so far up to Homer that time expected that puck to rim around. Nearly had to scramble back into the blue paint, now a turnover.
He also has a tendency to look for the long stretch pass, which almost never works in his case.
Season debut down on the ice underneath the goal line. North Dakota with the puck. Verhoeff, long threading pass up.
College selects from Team USA. Guy Godowski, the Penn State head coach, will lead that.
Personally, I have a hard time projecting Verhoeff as a first pairing defenseman in the NHL, given his struggles against the forecheck and his disappointing transition game. The limitation in his skating also led him to commit too many mistakes for a defenseman expected to handle heavy defensive assignments. Moreover, I don't believe that his offensive game is dynamic enough to envision him as a quarterback running a first power play unit. Of course, he has an excellent shot, but defensemen with this type of profile, and they have been somewhat rare in recent history, have not had much success in the NHL. That is something worth paying attention to.
Verhoeff. Took a bounce off the...
Great job by Emery there just to close that gap, take the time and space away.
The pressure by Burrows. Everybody's got a plan until you see the speed coming at you.
Nice look by for Strinden there on that. Just pulled that one-timer just a little bit wide.
Another lift.
Yeah, North Dakota took advantage of that puck possession, was able to get a complete line change.
Well, there's Caswell now forcing the turnover. Epperson.
Denver's credit with just one shot on goal.
UND, one of the best teams in the nation at limiting the opposition from getting shots on frame.
Dylan James played a lot of games against the Huskies in his career. Verhoeff up and down the wall into the corner. Centering.
McLean can only find the freshman defenseman, Keaton Verhoeff. Now Kroll, misplay. Pucks it in by Satasari.
So Airy to the bench. It'll even things up now, 5-on-5. North Dakota, it's all
St. Cloud State. A couple of NCHC foes to start the season for St. Clipped in the corner, off the window. Settled there and nearly cleared, but Shane.
So it was so simple to him too. Like he just saw it as such a simple game. The answers, the responses.
That being said, when you consider his background and the developmental runway still ahead of him, there is a chance that he could make significant stride in his progression. So that was it for Keaton Verhoeff. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I didn't shock you too much with my evaluation on him. I've been a bit critical about him, more than a few other public scout, I would say. The next video is also maybe going to be a bit controversial because it's going to be on St-Laurent. I haven't broke down his game yet, but I feel that I will have a lot to say about him, so see you then.
Check there by Anthony Dowd. Oh, now some room coming back the other way for Alfano. And he does. Another wrister right on and another save by draw controlled by North Dakota. Drive from Verhoeff going to the third. That's advantage UND the way they've been playing in the final 20.
Oh, you certainly think so based on how they've
gone by in their second period, still tied up. Remember, their third period has been outstanding by Haslett. Now Verhoeff again a shot. Has
individual skills and made a great pass.
Here he is again in the slot. Shot, save, rebound. Minute 15 to go in this advantage. Livanovic drops it back. Verhoeff. And now here's Young for the Nodaks. Verhoeff waiting. Nice pass down low. Oh, for Lucius. Rolled off his stick right on the doorstep. Boy, that was a pretty play. Shimmick and Lucius. Nothing to show for it. Now Kroll back the other way. That ran.
A couple of big-time donors stepped up. And
Livanovic again moves in. Drops it back for Verhoeff. Verhoeff moving in through a screen. Shot. Jake Livanovic. Phoenix native going up against his home state team. Here's Strinden now with some room. Strinden shoots and scores. North Dakota lost the puck. Kept alive here. UND. Yeah, they've got a weather. Here's Keaton. Pushing it deep into the North Dakota end.
Just won the night previous against Minnesota. Here's Verhoeff. Backhander just wide. They were giving up almost 3.5 goals a night last year. Second worst in the
left wing corner. Still loose in the corner. Out in front of pass across, and a save is made on the power play. Emery for Verhoeff. We had the first power play goal. High slot pass up down here. Cleared the line for Verhoeff. He moves to the high slot. Looks at net. Reshny towards goal. Didn't make the connection to the line. Verhoeff gives it up. Knights have numbers the other way now. Barkholtz will hold off and bring it to the corner and eat it down there. Livanovic drops it back off. Verhoeff a shot that's blocked in front right. Shot blocked there. Knights have never defeated North Dakota. 0-7. Now a good bump here in Steele as 19 in the power play. For Verhoeff, for a shot, and well, he moves the puck nicely up top for a shot by Savage. He moves for Verhoeff. He'll wait, he'll shoot. Goal line, looking for a wrap. Up to the right side for a shot, Soderwall save.
Livanovich, high slot, Verhoeff one-timer, just misses. I'd say many players involved in this series would say the same as Verhoeff shoots! Off to Verhoeff, now Livanovich. Verhoeff once more, that one-timer.
Back to when they're standing still.
Verhoeff trying to set up.
There's Swanson feeding it across. Verhoeff, Trotter the save. Leon Hayward runs the PK for St. Thomas with the assistance of head coach Blasey. Here is Reshny. Gel. Puck sent towards Wallen. He's got a man to aim for. Pass too strong.